announcement of the announcement, the AMA. Sorry, I should have done the sneak peek onto it. So more really hectic day. And I'll probably combine all the sneak peeks to the leaks on Mondays and Fridays in a bigger portion. Um, but for now, let me try to find my mic. Either my son threw it away or my maid. We begin officially and it'll be fine. It's like just watch. Okay. Right? Uh, mm, mm. Washington,有個黑色日子我喺度，頭先食飯我先將支嘢咁咗喺度。Yes. What's that? Yeah. It's something like this. It's just something like this. It was just like it. Oh, I see. Uh, awesome. Okay, check. Okay, hope you guys can hear me fine. Let me know here in the general chat if you can hear me. Okay, all the any questions is okay too. Let me lower the slow mode. Okay, I'll mark a few things down to address before I begin. Okay. Okay, anything else other than that? Yes. So, oh, okay. Yeah, 1 second. Second. Of the stats page. Sorry, it's been really hectic today, and things are all over the place. Me, the game demo stats so far up from the MongoDB. There we go. Just logging into MongoDB and then I can begin. Oh, they say you can share screen and stuff nowadays. Yeah, there is that button. Okay, let's begin. 20 people right now. I'm going to take a quick screenshot first. Okay. This POAP is still in there. And there are several things I would like to address before I go into the AMA questions. Okay, first, there was supposed to be a sneak peek 30 minutes ago. This one, I dropped the ball right there because I was trying to take a nap with my kid. I'm supposed to wake up at like 1 hour ago to prepare everything. But somehow the alarm didn't go off and I just slept through it. Very sorry about this. And I'll make it up with a bigger sneak peek video gallery, putting all into the leaks tomorrow. This is actually what we'll be doing going forward. We'll have sneak peeks every Monday and Friday. Mondays will be video leaks of the skills into the leaks, and Fridays will more be concepts or behind the scenes videos in the office. While the main skill will still be shown on Twitter, but with the tweet directing people into the leaks channel, into the Discord. Sorry about this, but should be more. Probably just have to. Sundays are just annoying because there's just too many stuff happening, especially having to take care of the kids. Okay, and then number 2, alts. So it's come to our attention that some of our wranglers and daddies have used alts in our events as grind. I'm going to ban them all. And for the main accounts, we'll also suspend them indefinitely until we work out a solution from all events and rewards. So I'll be reaching out to these daddies tonight. In the honest, just kidding. Yeah, well, but more clear instructions and warnings will be shown in the revamp of the daddy program, which will come live next week. But of course, the earlier week will confirm the details and the new orientation program. The existing Wrangler Center phone first, and then the registration should begin towards the middle of the week, like Wednesday or Thursday. once everything is confirmed, unless any major issues or conflicts come up. Okay, now on to the timeline. I'll get an update from the team regarding when we can begin seeing some the builds coming back out from the season 2 and the PvP as well. And then I'll update them in the development pipeline in the What is Aperon forum channel this week. I'll put this into my to-do list as well. And final is the free mint. Okay. Here we go. 1 second. Yeah, so hopefully I can combine them into a LoreKeeper diary entry. And the free mint and what the team is on recently. Okay. So on to the free mint. So yeah, I think I talked about the free mint and everything in the last leak regarding how the structure is for the regarding the last sneak peek for all the daddies. We'll talk about some of it in this AMA questions because I do see some people asking it about it, so I'll put it there. So before I go to AMA, how about just talking quickly about what the team is up to these days, as a lot of the attention has been diverted outside the server, where we did a lot of game shows and AMAs with a lot of these partners that we have in the Aperon Guild Wars. Please be aware that our attention right now is focused on trying to explore and expand Aperon to other communities and guilds. So we've been doing some road shows here and there, trying to get more communities on board. And the way we invite these communities, we often tell them is that we're not trying to absorb their users or trying to convert their users into our ecosystem. The whole point of the Aperon Guild Wars is to promote coexistence, and that we are trying to expand utility for their communities and their tokens or their NFTs ultimately, as represent Aperon as a fun game for them to play. So instead of forcing other community members into our Discord, we actually go out actively, and sometimes with some of our daddies, to other communities to stream gameplay or educate them. Mostly, I just go over to their communities to do a mini AMA or a showcase of our gameplay, which so far has been doing pretty well. Each community we go to have become more active in the leaderboards, and we are getting more and more communities to contribute to the leaderboards, to contribute to the reward pool, and also the charity pool. And so we'll update a bigger piece on these sponsors, and we also got a lot of cash sponsors as well. So I'm going to, as some of you may have noted, the new Aperon Guild War snapshot date has been moved from the 10th to the 16th, because we actually have even more communities looking to come in and also contributing to the reward pool. So I'll throw in a bigger tweet early next week to talk about this new extension, and also a bigger prize pool augmentation for the season 1 snapshot, and to include more rewards for more communities on the leaderboard instead of only the top 8, I think, right now. So and also some of you may have noticed that there's this qualification entry. Most of these entries are only these from these communities. They haven't completed the to form a basic entry. You need 3 members to complete the demo. But for a lot of these pre-qualified entries, these participants only have 2 qualified entries so far, and they will need 1 more to complete it. So it's something that we are trying to engage the community to try and get a few more friends and community members to play. which should be working so far. So ultimately, in the end, when the snapshot happens, if they still remain a qualified entry, then they won't be qualified. We'll clear this out with them and also move the leaderboards. And the leaderboards will be probably around the last week. The leaderboards won't be including the pre-qualified entries beginning on the 10th. But before that, let's try to encourage more people from these communities to play for now. And then, so the outreach effort have been mostly there. I've been talking to the KOLs, but they somehow all seem busy and asking for a lot. And but for season 2, we've lined up more people. Season 2 is more complete, and still much of the efforts have been directed towards going outward, readjusting the for the community side, and for my side is just readjusting tokenomics to target a summer, probably May token launch on hopefully on Binance, and also the move to Ronin may yeah, it's still in the talks. Won't confirm everything, but talks with Binance have been pretty good. We do have some parameters that we must adhere to for now, but we'll have to finalize it around April. So what they need is lower valuation. So they're hunting around the $50 million valuation. We're at like 120 right now. So we'll have to readjust the tokenomics and with the invested partners regarding this. We went through with them all. They're perfectly fine as long as they get this done on Binance. Everyone is okay with that. But yes, the tokenomics and the initial circulations will be adjusted. Once confirmed, we will update the white papers and everything. But this is still far from confirmed. We will have the in between version out in the channels for people to look at. I'll put it in the Medium article once we are more confirmed that we will get a listing on Binance for that. That's probably the only thing that will. But then again, before final confirmation, we're still with the old schedule. Ronin part will need more talks. It's quite big for publishing agreements, so probably need more time to finalize that. But ideally, for now, for most investors and partners and even co-founders, most push for the route to do the Binance and Ronin together, and then the DEX pool will also be in effect later. But then still a little too early to confirm all of this. But still, with the progress we're making, that's pretty good. So reiterating, besides the lower valuation and higher initial circulation, they also want to, of course, look into bigger numbers for the play counts and everything. In terms of the player counts right now, we have take a look. What the heck did that? Where's that MongoDB thing go? Okay, so for around our active user count, those who played the demo for over an hour, who spent an hour at least, there's around 800 of these active users. But as for the logins and downloads, those who downloaded and logged in, we are close to 4,000, 3,800-ish. And this spiked more after we removed the NFT requirements, but still not quite that many. Hopefully, we need to get these numbers way higher by season 2. So for season 2, in order to get these numbers higher, there's several things that we're planning. For one, the download will be directly on the site without the need for NFTs. We will be working in sort of a thing where they can directly play. But at the end, if they want to claim rewards or anything, they would at least need to register. So it's the typical, mobile game route where you play. There's a guest login. You play all user content. Everything will be lost if you don't bind it to an email and stuff. So it becomes onboarding becomes a little friendly over there. Towards the non-Web3 crowds, it will hopefully help us onboard more users. We want to target the six-figure digit number. For any Web3 game right now, I think it would be a very long shot if you go organic. But if we do this guest route and with the rewards we're targeting, I think we have a good chance of hitting that. Anything else? We're also opening up the option we're testing the Chinese language to open up. We have some bigger partners on the Chinese side coming in on season 2, so the numbers will shoot up. But of course, it will come with the option to the Chinese version. Hopefully, we can also include other languages into the demo. We'll be talking with more wranglers on how to solidify the translation side, because we are doing a bigger translation upgrade in terms of the process and flow of the translation sheets. If we can standardize our translation procedures properly, we can move on to early translations even in the demo. Not talking about full translation, but at least if the translation for the skills can be done for the other languages, it would be great as well. And I do expect the descriptions to be a lot shorter in the in-battle display, while the long versions can still be visible in the menus. So yes, things are progressing pretty well on this side. Still a lot of stuff to confirm. But I'll lock in the dates with Lore Scribbler and Lore Master this coming week, and then maybe in the next peak we can, in the coming week I can update some of the dates in the roadmap. And I think that's pretty much it. Okay, I'll jump to the. Take a quick look. Let me jump to the. Let me see if there's any immediate concerns around the general. No. Okay. And there's 44 people right now. I'm taking another screenshot and throw it in. Okay. I think this will be the ones. This will be the screenshot where the POAP happens. Okay. The utility of the POAP and everything will come with the Daddy revamp. Well, besides the Daddy revamp and the Sugar revamp, we are working on revamping the I call it the Sugarnomics of Funny Emblems, Souls, and Sugar. So it will be a big upgrade seen by the Daddies first early next week, and then we'll confirm if it's happy and good to go, and then we'll try to implement that. Something of a more circulatory route for these three community resources to circulate. Okay, on to the questions. I don't see a lot. Should be okay. Okay, Alexis. Frank, do you have like a shower? What? Do you have like a shower thoughts? Or has ever come across you want to make everyone as part of like a social game capable of roleplay online, controlling characters, actors, and avatars, AR, VR content in the future, full transition metaverse? Not exactly sure what this entails. In our own roadmap, there is a mini game, like a Tamagotchi game planned, and also in production. But as for metaverse social role plays, we'll probably work on with other ones. I've talked to 2 Discord mini game partners, and then we're still in talks, but the things are not progressing very fast over there because we're very busy on ourselves. and until our art team and everything can free up, let's be honest, they won't be able to free up anytime this year. But we'll try to figure out a way as we hire new recruits, and actually with the possibility of integrating the 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 fusion thing, the AI for art generation. We're exploring that. We can successfully use the diffusion thing. Our 3D models can begin self-generating, then we may be able to begin working on metaverse skins with other projects earlier in 3D in our models or in others. But still, these stuff that is saved more for the pitch deck. I'll show you guys in sneak peeks when it's ready. But that is a move that can actually hasten the development of the metaverse if we can use the AI method to generate artwork and then work with other projects. And then the second other hyperplan hasn't really yet released its tokens in any exchange to market measure as well as further implication setbacks. Although do you guys lack a approximate date to when you most likely release, maybe in a bull run perhaps? So the new tokenomics, other than the valuation part, which is there's something that's definitely going to happen in the tokenomics, is the vesting schedule. So the current Epsilon token schedule is planned to be released in 2 phases for most of our investors and our community round. One, the TGE is definitely going to be in summer. No market will delay this. And the battle launch is also scheduled to be in summer. So right now the token launch is May, and the battle launch should be a few weeks behind the TGE, so it should be in June. And then, even if anything delay or anything would happen, we foresee everything must happen in the summer. But that also applies to the tokenomics and vesting schedule. So for the vesting schedule for almost all our partners will be extended greatly, almost doubled, including our own team unlock, of course. And then it will also be split into 2 phases. The unlock will still be around the same, or even shorter, around 3 to 5 months' time. But it will be separate in 2, meaning the first 50% of the unlocks and vesting will be calculated based on the battle launch date, like the TGE date in the summer. But the other 50% happens when we launch the God game part, and the God game will only be released when there are signals of the next bull run, or at least much healthier market size, or when we see that the opportunity is there. And we target to have the God game side already. I shouldn't say that. So that would invite unnecessary conflict. So we will have the God game ready while we hope to target the bigger launch at least in the second half of this year. And but before that, the battle part, the tokens will definitely be out. We'll definitely need to do a lot of balancing and also tokenomic adjustments as we weather the markets. But we need to do this. So in a normal market, if we are looking at what we are looking at right now, I think we should be able to do a lot of good data, and we should still go for a CEX. If the market really craps itself, we will still launch, but we'll definitely go for a DEX route with a more controlled version of the tokens. That's the current plan. And then what comes next? Eden gameplay or PFP NFTs? It will definitely be probably PFP NFT first before Eden gameplay. Eden gameplay is the God game mode. Yeah. So if you're talking about next, then the season 2. The season 2 is a more complete PvE dungeon. The PvE you see right now in the season 1 demo is a very minimal value product. And then to Goose. 好，不然游戏正式上线和 TG 是同一时间吗？ 一定会是1个月以内啊，1个月，相隔不到1个月的一个事情，我们会 confirm TGE，因为我们能 confirm 我们的 battle launch，我们上线的时间。所以如果做 TGE 的话，一定是因为我们上线已经准备好了。而我们做 TGE 的时候，你们也应该能尝试到不是你们 ，sorry， 而是我们的Primeval Holder，我们的原始星球的持有者，应该是已经可以内测我们的正式上线版，我们才会决定这样做的。所以对，是大概是同一段时间。Okay, Thursday. Questions. Even with a T star with a white dwarf, most of our planets won't reach 1K of age when the battle attrition launches this June. Will chronology be available so I can age my planet enough to be able to equip 4 apostles? The chrono merging should be available together with the battle launch, so that some planets can be aged. But we will be monitoring the overall planet supply and the overall age, because it is possible for us to alter the rules or some of the tournament or arena structures so that the requirements to enter them is lower. What I mean is, for example, we could actually make it so that you don't have to install the apostles onto the planets to participate. We can actually allow you to select a planet and an apostle NFT in your wallets, so the requirement for the planet agent, you don't actually have to install them to participate. You can select a set that is separate. But of course, we have to take a look at overall market supply of planets out there. We can't open up chrono merging too soon. If it will result in significantly hampering and reducing the number of total supplies out there, although this likely will not happen. But yes, you can expect chrono merging to be available upon launch as well. The current blockchain pipeline is that they're doing apostle minting, which is also known as relic minting, in terms of contracts in this month. And a quick word on the June launch is that what was I trying to say? I absolutely got a mind block there. Anyway, we'll circle back to me. Season 2. Second question. Season 2 will enable us to mint apostle NFTs, and we can level it up as well. How is this the process for this? Every time we die from the deep dungeon, we reset to the first depth level. Do we bring all of the apostles we encounter with us? How does the fusion and minting work? Do we fuse while in the dungeon, or do we mint? Okay, I'll absence this one by one, starting from the more. Okay, so in the season 2, when you die, you don't go back to the depth you die. You actually go back to depth 1. That's going to be 4 depths. That's going to be depth 0, depth 1, depth 2, depth 3, and depth 4. Depth 0 is a tutorial level. If you die, you won't go back to the tutorial. You start from depth 1. And instead of allowing infinite restarts and quit in the post menu, you are only allowed 1 life. Meaning if you die, you have the chance to restart or select another stage and get some tips. But with that life spent, you have to with that life spent, you will be sent back to depth 1. So it's more on a rogue-like structure. And all your apostles will be gone. It's a hard reset. So you have to take better care as you fight deeper into dungeons and try to merge the apostle. So how does the fusion work? The fusion works like this. You will just like in season 1, you run into apostles. The odds will probably be lower than season 1. And then if it's the same apostle, you'll be allowed to merge them. One will be the host and one will be eaten. And the eaten one, you will be able to select skills to level up. The leveling up of the apostles themselves actually still happens the same in season 1, where you have to fight through the dungeons and everything. But this level actually doesn't have anything to do with the minting, because when you mint it, it's at 0. And when you install it into your planets, it's also level 0. What remains is the skill level. So right now in season 1, when you play, all the apostle skill levels are at still level 0. Or level 1, so to speak. And when you merge apostles with the same skills, you can add that. You can increase the experience of one of the skills, and or you can choose a skill that is different from your host and replace it. This way, you can make sure that that apostle holds the 3 skills that you really want. Once you have those 3 skills that you're sure you want, you can begin leveling them up by trying to run into the same apostles class with those same skills and level it up. At the end or in the middle of your runs, you'll be able to select, like a save slot thing, this apostle you want to keep as the future mint. So either in the campfires or at the end of each death, you'll be asked a question to select which apostle you want to save in your mint slot, so to speak. Forgive the name; it's absolutely temporary. But there'll be a slot. If you don't hold any planets or do not participate as a guild, you have 1 slot, and then you can save that apostle there. And then at the end of the season, you can use our battle pass to mint this apostle out. The apostle will retain the skill levels and the class and the cosmetics, and so you can actually free mint. Well, we call them free mint, not that free that you have a battle pass mint, but we'll call it a skill to mint, a skill mint version of the apostle you actually played in the game and created yourself. Apostles have different internal values, as we talk about like in Pokemon. The deeper you go into the dungeons, the higher the possibility you run into higher growth rate or higher battle power apostles. The battle power of these apostles in the rare end, in the very rare end, will be similar to Origins, or in the very, very rare occurrence may even be slightly higher than Origins, but most of them probably won't be as high as the Origins. And so if you play, so you can assume that for most people, they will be playing the game, and they will be trying to merge the apostle and mint it. Mint one of them. If you are a planet holder, you get 2 more slots where ultimately you can mint 3 of them. Each mint will also require a battle pass though. But yes, you can mint 3 of them. And then for guild partners and the guild entries, and the April Guild World entries, with a qualifying entry, we will let them mint 1 more. So a total of 4 apostles for most people. It's possibly fine. And then also there's the rarity. In terms of the rarity, running into higher rarity apostles, we may be working on allowing higher primeval planets to have a higher chance to run into it. But how do we control the and prevent people from moving planets around? We may do snapshots, or we may actually affect the internal value only upon mint, so that higher primevals have higher internal values. This part really have not confirmed yet, but still, asset holders, primeval holders at higher rarities will definitely have their advantages. And then finally, the total limit and supply of these apostles will be based on the total number of planets upon and the end of season 2. It will also be based upon the number of KPIs. I mean, as in the number of logins, the number of new followers, the number of members in our community will increase the supply of these apostles. So we won't be like doing like an absolute free mint with no limit will still want to gauge around the prices and the necessity. For example, the core stat will be the number of planets because it will probably like the number of planets multiplied by 4 as the base number uh, of of um of apostles we will allow to mint out there. More details of this will be available in the Medium article, but this is the direction with which we are going. I know it's a lot to digest. Hopefully, someone's recording this. Reset question afternoon with the answer to bring apostles counted with us. Hopefully, most is answered. If you have questions regarding what I said, feel free to type in the AMA questions, and I can follow up from what I know. Again, follow what is written in the Medium article that will come up towards the middle of this month describing all this. There will probably be 2 Medium articles. The first Medium article will be on the gameplay you'll see in Season 2, and the second one will be this free mint, this apostle mint that will happen. So hopefully with the free mint, we can attract more guilds into the fold as well. And since star opening has begun, will there be no more Nebula Expedition? Oh no, there will be Nebula Expeditions soon as well. But we do want people to get a bit more accustomed to the star opening for like 2 weeks. Maybe we'll throw in one more expedition before the opening of the rentals. Maybe 2 weeks before that. Yes. So hopefully you guys have all been orbiting your planet between your breeding. We know we've been kicking it. One of our objectives in the past month was really tallying how the guilds are doing and really pushing the guilds to breed. You know, surprised how many guilds actually haven't bred, especially the larger ones. And with the planets and with the stars sent over there, we actually forced all of them to have meetings with us, and we even wrote exiles for them to begin breeding. And we have sent some of our ditties to some of these guilds to help manage, or at least consult them how to breed those planets that's sitting there idly by with hundreds and hundreds of mini black holes in their treasury. Okay, and then moving on to Baby. Can I say I love you? Yes, you can, Baby. And heart of the card. When is season 2 coming? So the Primeval testing should be happening towards later this month. I'll lock in the date on that. April is probably the time when season 2 will be in full swing. Number 2, what happens when selling a star with attachments and planets? Do they also get so along with them? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. When you have a star that's fully attached with the astronomicals and have planets orbiting around it, you can still sell it. The moment you sell it, the entire system, including the astronomicals and the planets orbiting around it, moves to new owner. The new owner will immediately receive the rent that's already on that star. The planets will still orbit around them with the same contracts of orbiting, and the rent will still go to that person. So yes, what happens when we transfer or sell a planet receipt? Don't know. You cannot transfer or sell planet receipts. Yeah. Staked items cannot be, the receipt token cannot be traded. I'm pretty sure that's the case. If you can trade it, please open a ticket or let us know. Number 4, can we see the total age gained from a go over the star? How is the aging calculated? You will be able to see it later. We have plans to update that number. But for now, you have to calculate it yourself. The ages, well, you just add it to, you see in the Star Fortune and the Godifers page, where on the orbital tracks, there's actually a aging date thing. You just multiply that with the days orbited, and that's the age they are aging. Does it update once a day and count how many hours the planet was orbiting since last update? I think it's updated on a block by block basis, but I'm not sure. Let me ask this one to all script. Is there a minimum age required for a planet to play PvP? It was around 1,000 years old to be eligible for PvP in the works. But of course, we'll monitor this age um, upon launch and then see how the overall supply and age is like before deciding. But the optimal equilibrium where we target is 1,000 years old to participate. When will the next breeding events of push be? Probably also in April when we have season 2 in effect. Number 7. Is it possible to merge an origin proposal with non-origin proposal? Will no longer be an origin proposal if he technically. And of course, this also have to adhere to the new medium. But from the scope and the demo documents, it's supposed to be you can select a host. So you can always have the origin as the host and keep the origin tag and origin value, internal value, and then absorb other stuff. So, for example, if you have a new apostle from the mint in season 2, and you want to merge it into the origins, then one more thing to answer as this: the merging happens in the dungeon, in the game. It's not on chain. All the merge happens in the demo itself. Only the minting, turning that into an NFT, is on chain, so it's a season ending. And then back to this is supposed to merge proposal. So how it's going to work in the future is that you have to, if you want to merge apostles, you have to install one of the origin apostles onto your planet, and also another apostle on the marketplace onto your planet. Or you can run into other apostles in the dungeons when you play through. Then you can select the origins as a host during the in-game session, and it can consume another apostle. So do remember that in the beginning, and most likely the case is, the origins have a high internal value, but the skills you cannot play around with in the very beginning. So so if you don't have any other apostles, you have to play through it, mix and merge it, and upgrade it. If you want to have them really fully prepared, you want to have some apostles. If you have a warrior origins apostle, and then you mint several warrior apostles out there, for example, each apostle, you maximize one of their skills that you really want. Then this origin apostles has to consume 3 normal warrior apostles with each of those skills maxed, and replace them with their own existing skills. This way, you can assure that your origin apostle has the high internal value, and then it has the 3 high level or maxed out. Probably not maxed out, wouldn't be that easy to max out, but 3 high level skills that you're sure you want, and this will be combined to be the ultimate apostle that you want. And of course, you can use it to play and everything, or you can mint it back out at the end of the Armageddon cycle and turn it back into an NFT. That is supposed to be the current plan. Again, stick to the official Medium articles when it's out. International Binance is not available for US residents. Will there be any way for US residents to participate in the TGE? I thought there's a Binance US thing, or the Coinbase. But for this part, until we lock the TGE, I don't think I should really confirm that. Number 9. When you said we can use Specipas to mint apostle, is that the same as the lunar solar fragments? Yes, the lunar solar fragments will be required to mint the apostle. So if you want to mint a lot of puzzles, you should prepare some battle passes. We will also be doing another round of airdrops or stake and pull, likely, so that our planet holders can get some of them. Round 4. Hi. Can you tell me the other modes everyone will have in the future? Is there co-op mode? So, still in the pipeline, you have the God game mode, Once the card game mode is out, there's the card game mode and there's the Giant Alliance battle mode. Both of which actually doesn't require the other to begin. But hopefully, we will release the battle version, the single player battle version, so to speak, with PvP and PvE, singles PvE, and then we have the card game, and then we have the Giant Alliance battles and the first constant in the Shinto Galaxy. Shouldn't be named Shinto, it's just a new name for it. And then co-op modes where 2v2s and above happen should be next. But then I don't think this will be like too soon. At least 2 or 3 years away is what I foresee co-op mode to be. There are too many things in this single player loop and in the Grand Alliance battle loop to balance and confirm before we can move into the co-op modes. Co-op modes are not easy to make. Very, very hard, and the gameplay dynamics are very different. Of course, it's more fun, but what I want to note is that these co-op modes and multiplayer game modes will be a very big bane in the blockchain games this year. If you have played any other blockchain games that emphasize co-op modes, if you tried the alphas, the betas, the demos, a lot of them have a hard time finding matching, and you'll find yourself playing with bots and bots and bots all the time. That's because there is so little Web3 gamers out there that it's impossible to open up these PvP or even co-op builds out there without just constantly running into bots and taking away from the gameplay system. If you look at the larger franchises, the bigger game, like the biggest GameFi projects out there, a lot of their multiplayers is very empty. And that's a problem that the entire GameFi space have to face together, is that population is just not growing. Even in these markets that seem to be stabilizing, the GameFi population is diminishing, actually. The entire Web3 space population is actually also diminishing. Only the flippers are mostly left, and traders are left. So it's a bit harder. And but I think Aperon is on a pretty good path. We are on a single player basis. Most of our PvE is developed and quite solid. And then we also have PvP, but are not in co-op mode and also in single player mode. So the stress on finding these battle testing and betas is actually easier for us. But still, we'll still need to find a lot more players and find ways such as the guest modes or easier logins so that we can actually allow Aperon to be played by more people instead of relying on the sole Web3 population. And then he said, I hope you won't hold Season 2 demo while my exam period again. And the final exam is on early May. Well, then you're pretty fucked. The full swing is in April. But I can certainly ban your account, or I can lock your game time at like 2 hours or something. Like, your wallet. Yeah. Okay, I know who the college students are. I think I'll just lock all of you together to like maybe like 3 hours of game time. So you guys won't fail your college because of Aperon. Actually, I'm half serious about that. I do still very much care about that you guys should graduate college. I mean, as fun as college can be, and as useless as degree can be in your future compared to like actual connections and work ethics and everything, getting a college degree is still a very big part of your lives, and you should focus on getting that done. Aperon has a lot more other events coming up and a lot of other tournaments. You don't have to sacrifice your college degree to get into the Season 2 leaderboard. I will feel very depressed if you guys actually have that. Okay, but also hovering. Are we going to have a bulk attached planet and detached future? Certainly, yes. I have 300 planets myself, and I would certainly push for that. But still, the Lost Scribbler and blockchain side still have their pipelines to do. So hopefully it will be. LoreKeeper did say that mass orbiting and detaching should be available sooner than the mass morphing or mass breeding ones. Hopefully, still 100 the max level of the avatar. In the demo, yes, I believe, but not in the future. Joke, what do you call a fake Asta? And Asta, it's actually it's not half bad. Extra souls goes here. Baby Tiger. My question: will season 2 demo more difficult to play? No, actually, it's easier. The season 1 demo is probably the toughest you'll be fighting. Well, unless you reach to the season 2's later runs. So what I mean is, season 1, you fight to the top 3 and then it's over. And but you have no artifacts, you have no your apostles have no high level skills, so and you cannot customize fully. So it's actually a lot harder. Anyone who can defeat the 3 boss in the season 1 actually is on a good track to mastering the game, because this is the core loop, as I said before. This is Akron in its raw form, and this is the toughest one. In season 2, though, beware. In the first run through, because you have artifacts and everything, the experience will actually be a lot more. Well, I can't say a lot more, but at least 50% easier, I hope, for most. As we do want to lower the difficulty slightly on the boss level, and the artifacts will give you a good edge on stats, and the apostle skills can be higher level. But because season 2 is season around an infinite run, season 2, when you finish the depth 4, you'll be cycled back to depth 1, but with disadvantage, like a certain what do you call that? Shit, I don't want to call it a disability. It's supposed to be named what do you call that? Handicap? Yes. That's similar. You'll be placed with a handicap, and the enemies will be stronger. And then you can run through the depths again. Of course, the levels can retain, and then you can keep increasing the apostles' skills. But the difficulty will increase, and then you run through the dungeon again to depth 4. If you complete depth 4 in the cycle 2, you'll be in cycle 3. The cycles can be infinite, with the gameplay difficulty all rolling higher and higher and higher. So in the higher cycles, the difficulty will be even more difficult than in season 1. But at the same time, the level of customization and skills and deck that you have is also further and further enhanced. Essentially exactly the same as a roguelike and a roguelike game, or in a roguelike gameplay. And it will be a lot more and highly replayable as you try to continue to run through the cycles and mix and merge that ideal apostle for your mid, of course, or to just achieve the furthest level in the leaderboards. It's the maximum level apostles can attain. In the dungeon, the level is 100, but that doesn't matter. The skill level actually is still under debate. It should be, I'm not sure, but for the demo, there should be a cap. I'm not sure if it's level 8 or something, but we'll have to take a look. Probably 8 or 10 from the looks, but don't, again, stick to the medium that's going to come out towards the middle of the month to confirm this. What's the best flower for a boy to give to his mum? Sunflower. Heard that before on Google. Nice already. Thank you, Baby Tiger. Okay. Phil asked, many people in my community ask me how to get boot plushies. Can you tell us? It's going to be very hard to get boot plushies or boot and cushions going forward. Again, I've mentioned many times, I really regret airdropping plushies for the origins, because I don't see people treasuring their plushies and just flipping them. It's actually also one of the things that I'm thinking to remodel the merchandise of April on. Seeing how Azuki did something pretty well for their merchandise, instead of having an NFT merchandise that is supposed to be an NFT first and claim to become a merchandise, that actually they did it reversed. So people have to buy the merchandise, of course, with a special role and everything, and then buying it in real life in certain department stores or partners, and then it comes with an NFT, more for a commemorative version. NFT merchandise, on the other hand, that's more centered like what we're doing now. It's just encouraging people to flip them, and they don't even want to exchange them unless it's more free on necessity. And I think it diminishes the IP value and the merc value and turns it into a flipping contest or something that's to be traded, and it feels less physical, and the emotional attachment is actually a lot less compared to have something like the actual merc. So for some of these plushies and cushions, I will probably do it in reverse until I determine that you guys won't see much of them in bulk supply. But plushie, besides the final Daddy Farewell shop, I don't think you'll be seeing it anywhere except maybe one in a in a in a tougher event. Um, yeah, can I be one in the AGW? Not sure. It's more community thing. I want to be saved for our community members, not thrown around and in other communities. So yeah, they're very cute. I can't let them be flipped like the plushies. OK，行星月底就可以正常收租了，然后租跟怎么运作的？收租是新设定的。这个应该是自己可以设定的。写什么都可以。最低消费我们应该一开始应该没有，但是这个我们就要到月中的时候推出前我们会 confirm 一转，现在我还不能确定，但是应该有一个底价的，我要跟他们 confirm 一下。我现在问一问，看有没有一个方向他们在走了。行星日日的都跟市场上面是同一职业，这里说0.06，显然是老人大户出货，这话点嘉宾留住了，玩家方面也没有什么想法，现在大家都很倦。我知道那个老户，这个新的0.06的3元素的那个人是一个以前曾经已经退缓的一个人，然后他最近回来了，他回来不久呢又要卖。我其他人其实我都说过可以退还的话只有一次，不可以减出2次，然后他上去了就在这个抛售这些，但是我说了我不会接这个的。留着老玩家的方法，其实老玩家怎么留着，我们有出一些 airdrop， 他们都有event可以参加。如果他们觉得现在有的活动啊或优惠是不够的话呢，我也没办法，也不会想出一些新的 airdrop 或什么的去留他们。如果捐了多少花，然后我也是跟他们说，是可以欢迎退款的。而且 refund 后我们也陆续会有一些不同的游戏啊、抽奖啊、airdrop 啊这些安排，只是都差不多到游戏退出了。如果在这个时候还是要说，他们不满的话，没人留他们，那我也没办法，都不差这几个月了。Chen replied. Chen said does it update once a day and count how many hours of panels? It only update. Let me confirm the ones that I think.哦，租金有最低消费的，不可以零的然后就是你有一个朋友的清单，可以邀请你的朋友去 orbit。And the update of the hours is once a day. Okay. Dennis, let's see. Hi Frank, how are you doing? When is the tentative release of Apron Token Anima? So APRS and Anima, APRS is out like probably within 1 month of the launch, so around A. And then, but of course, the ultimate date is set together with the exchange. If we go back into the exchange, Anima should be out with the game in June. Regularity will be later, probably next the year end or next year, depending on when the Shinto Galaxy comes out. The Shinto Galaxy can come out before the clock game simulation event if the markets are kind of crappy. But hopefully it won't happen to be like that. Sure. Why did the Scarecrow get an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. Hmm. It's okay. Oh, okay. Here is recording. How do you see the effect of age in the current stage? The effect of age in the current state don't quite follow what that means. But if we talk about the direct impact of age right now, other than staking, I think more vapor generated, don't really have much. Although we can actually organize certain events around aged and older planets to kind of encourage more aging on a more out game level. Probably can't do something too extreme though. But as for the future, aging is still quite a key aspect because, especially in when the battle comes out, if you look into a lot of the season 2 artifacts that you'll be running into, some of them may look different, or we may actually slap a direct mintable. That you can see that there are relics that you run into the dungeon, very rare ones, that can be minted into NFTs. And those are relics that can be attached on your planets. In the future, I don't think you can mint relics in Season 2, but you can see which ones can be minted. And upon official gameplay, these relics can become NFTs and you can install them onto planets. And planets slots, relic slots, is enhanced by age. So older planets definitely has higher advantages in the future game from a PvE level and from a PvP level, because there are always two PvPs. One is the esports side, and one is the more full-on equipment side where everything counts. If people want to go for more esports or balanced play, then they can go for the esports side. But other than that, there's a full-blown arena with everything count and effect. From what I can tell, it only affects Netflix experience paper and we can get it's been released. You can get affect the reward structure a lot or a little. It will affect a lot, but like not at these ages. I mean, when they affect a lot, it would be when they are like at least 1,000,000 years old. Like when you get to the 6-figure ages, that's when the difference will be more significant. I mean, a couple 100 years difference won't be huge in the Nebula expeditions. Yes, unless we also come with some events that encourage aging of planets or planets that are in orbit. We can always host events to encourage that. For example, like a mini game or small leaderboard where the stars or the constellations with the most aged planets um, can get a reward for the entire constellation. Sounds like a good idea, actually. Let me mark it down. Okay. Little Blue, hi Frank. Will we have Star Orbital 3D effect? Yes, we actually have an MVP of that. Actually, Lawmaster has it. So probably won't be seeing that in sneak peeks because Lawmaster don't really like sneak peeks. I'll try to sneak it right now when he's willing to give me, but my experience working with him, he doesn't give me stuff until it's done. As I really nag him for it. But yes, it's in production, and it should be we targeted. Hopefully, it can be out together because the whole 3D effect thing is actually implemented into the game itself. Because it's actually because it's the actual map. So in the future, when you're playing a game on your planets on your app, you'll be playing into the dungeons, selecting the planets that you're playing on, and outside on the game map, you can actually view the stars. It's in one scene, actually. So that is in production, and I do hope it comes out, but I can't promise that. I can't promise anything on the Lawmaster side. They will give me when it's out. But I know they have an MVP version. But they're currently working on a UI, is what they last told me 2 weeks ago. Which item can we purchase by using Animus? I think in Animus right now the earliest plans for Animus is that it can be exchanged for some, not really exchanged from it because they don't buy you anything. But when you perform like breeding and it costs like 4 mini black holes, it has the option to deduct a certain number of Animus, and from 4 mini black holes it deducts into like 3 or 2 mini black holes. And this function is supposed to be coming this month, but I have to confirm with Lost again because this month they are working on the Apostle minting contract. And I think the Apostle minting contract takes precedence over the use of Animus for now. Only because there's not enough players in Season 1, so to speak. But I'll have to confirm him these dates later this week. Yes, confirm this. Yep. But no, Animus cannot be used to purchase anything too direct. It will always be used more as a discount, and in the future, it should be. It still functions like a store credit. Once the official game is out, if you were a newbie, what would keep you from becoming a pro player? Time, money, resources, breeding. Keep you from becoming a pro player. For time, well, every game is time, so yeah. Money, not necessarily. You can, if you play well, I'm sure a lot of guilds have quads, tries, duels, and pures. I'm sure a lot of guilds are happy to poach players or to reward players along their scholarship to provide better planets for players with talent and proper education. Resources are still, if they are like scholarships and guilds and communities, I don't think resources is a problem because as long as you play good, I got it. But if I play good but I don't have resources, is that even a possibility? Yeah, you can apply. You can find the guilds that actually have better systemized resource distribution. That's something. Breeding, not really. But breeding in its own is actually a whole department of gameplay. So knowing how to breed and organizing breeding is actually quite important. But still, it doesn't affect the PvP aspect of things. They will need to have some knowledge, but and in the meta sense. So yeah, I think mostly would be the time issue. Others can be dealt with by joining constellations, or finding higher tier planets to rent or play for. Number 2, is there a ceiling where all pros need to reach before it does become skill based and not pay to win? If it's similar to Clash Royale, then there should be a level and a age limit with which they have to reach before approaching to the esports side. Of course, you can directly rent that, or go to a community that has that and play as a scholar. Probably won't use the term scholar in the future, as it's become very derogatory in this space. What percentage of the first 3 cards and perks affects the planet's competitive capabilities? I think this really have to be confirmed upon game launch or closer to the primeval testing that you can really answer that, because from what I see right now, they give a slight, well, I think it's Esther who put it that way. It feels like they are more the wild cards that can affect certain decks. They wouldn't be an extremely huge edge. It will definitely have an effect on what to expect from certain planet mixes, but I think it's too soon to estimate this sort of advantage, especially with the current planet mix. I'd say they wouldn't be playing too much of a significant part in the early stages of the game until that's really more spread out and everything. And of course, if there are certain skills that seems imbalanced and cause a massive breeding over there, we'll always make adjustments to it. As long as it doesn't affect fairness, and there are ways to defeat these builds, I think we're good. But hopefully our balance and design team didn't come up with anything that's super overpowered, that we have to nerf it. Primevals are like mystic axes. Sort of. Are they also meant to be powerful than regular planets? No. They have utility. They have utility in terms of more financial and outgame. But will there be rerolls? Actually, if the concerns in 3 is true, and that certain planets actually the initial skills do have a big unfair advantage over the others, we will offer a reroll for primevals. But then this sequence requires the primevals to actually have to get their offspring planets back together in one molecule in order for us to properly complete this and maybe revert some of the breedings, which is actually a nightmare. So we actually are planning another step to do this sort of reroll. And this is a worst case scenario. We probably are not looking for any type of reroll of any sort, because from what we see and what we designed, these skills shouldn't have like an extreme competitive advantage. It's more like wild cards that throw in a little interesting extra. But how wild I'm not very sure if it is, because again, this is something that can be viewed on chain. So when you play against someone in the pro PvP circle, I mean, you can see what planets they own, and you can tell the 3 cards and the perks they have before the game. It's actually what they do with their skill tree that you cannot see. So yeah, it can throw people off, but at the top, man, will it really throw people off? I'm not very sure. We'll need to really play it out. Number 5, we've disputed that there has been 4,000 unique accounts unlocked into the game. What demographics of most players, and are we able to see that data? This is a MongoDB thing. MongoDB I don't think can be shared outside the company, but I can screenshot it out. But as for demographics, I don't think we separated demographics. Let me see if stream can ask on demographics, but honestly, um, I think it should be similar to our Discord demographics, mostly Southeast Asian. Well, it's half and half. Half of them are Southeast Asians, and the other half should be um, from the rest of the world, spread quite evenly. The Chinese population is surprisingly small, though, in the demo. But they still all play, but they are not in the high end of the competition for now. Actually, a lot of the stronger Chinese partners do want to come in season 2 when there's a Chinese option. Probably it's a language barrier thing. Number 6, my T7 stars constellation is a minor true freedom. The only other I can see is Scallywag. Everything else is just a wallet address. How does one get the benefit? How does one get the benefit of the constellation? Do all holders have to communicate with each other? Or we can get a benefit just by having the star? It would require all the owners of the star to stake them into one pool to activate the constellation. So right now, even the guilds cannot stake them into the constellation yet. So this function, let me ask, well, I think may not be available too soon. Should be available after game launch. If what I know, I mean, because in the pipeline, hopefully around the game launch or after the game launch is when you can stick the stars into the same guild. Yeah, it's not scripted. Number 7. Why does Scannion hate searching for the sexy Zelda pics? There are too many links. It is actually a pretty good joke. Is it all from online or is it from... Is it original? If it's original, I'll give you some extra sugar. Not sugar, sorry. I mean extra souls. Sugar. This is for next season. Okay, QQ. My friend, when Eden gameplay talked about that. When can we use our own avatar on planet the later installation of the demo? Better launch. But the primeval testing hopefully will be around May, I hope. Well, step by step, because it's one by one. We'll see. Hopefully by May, you'll be primeval testing. Caution, lame jokes ahead. When the shop owner accidentally ordered too much chocolate and mushroom water, he said that we've got a rocky road ahead of us. What did Mersh, marshmallows and cookies used to communicate Morse code? Yep. Well, I wouldn't call it lame, but it's okay. Oh, but you gave me a burnt marshmallow. Thank you, Q. Extra souls for a marshmallow. Okay, for the coming season 2, who would be participants who will have the advantage the most? In terms of gameplay, it's all in terms of time. I guess anyone who played season 1 would have advantage because they understand the core game mechanics. As for utility rise, Mevo planet owners, because they have a higher chance to meet the higher internal values. What will be the gameplay? Oh, that is wait for the article in season 2 because I've went over the gameplay quite many times, but I think the season 2 gameplay article in the mid of March should answer most of this problem. For PvE, there's always a certain degree of RNG though. The skill of a player does count, I believe. We can take a look at the current leaderboard as a reference. Are they lucky or are they skilled? Most people say they are lucky, but to me, if you've watched the showdown, the ones who are at the top did spend the time to get there. And we look at the way they control their avatars, the mini controls, the way they use and position the apostles, it's actually all skill. So, but luck still plays a large factor. At the very top end, very top end still in this, I'd say 30% skill, 17% luck. But this would not appear to be so for a lot of people who do not reach the top end of the skill level. Managing. How long does it take to play the game? Like God Simulator. How long does it take? So in the future, for the minimal requirement for playing the game, you can expect playing one full loop. So there will be 5 deaths for each planet in the core planetary dungeon. If you don't go outside or anything, if you just want to go for on-chain functions to play, then each reset can be done, or ideally done, when you complete the 5 steps once a week probably. And if you can't do it skill based, you can groom the planet slowly on the god game side, and allow your stats to grow, and then you can breeze through, or with the equipped relics you can breeze through it each week to reset. But the time need to be spent, well, either you are very skilled or you have the right relic slots, then I'd say probably almost at most an hour a day. Once you know all the basic mechanics and you progress through the basic stories and the early levels. I mean, we still like designed a whole complete experience for playing the game with story and everything in the beginning. So once you're past that, it should take more than an hour a day if you really don't want to spend time to practice on the battle side and everything. But if you want to do that, why not just rent it out to a scholar? This is probably a better option. Or rent it to another player. If you want to try to spend minimal time on a game, especially a game like Haberon. Okay, former Mr. Kim. Will Season 2 Double have another avatar or puzzles? Yes, Season 2 will have the... Oh, actually, no, not a different avatar. It's still the Tempest avatar, but you can play in the Warrior and the Commander class. That's the Fury and the Fate. As for the apostles, yes, you meet all 12 apostles with all 8 skills, but of course they'll only be drawn from 3. I mean, they're drawn from every apostle class has 8 skills, but when you meet them, 3 will be randomly drawn from the pool of 8 from each skill class. Okay. Oh, more questions. Good. Will there be additional utilities of mini black holes aside from breeding in the future? Very, very highly likely, but I cannot confirm that. But it's very highly likely mini black holes will have other features. E2 when Hello Kitty talked to Doraemon, why Doraemon never replied? Well, does Hello Kitty have a mouth? Oh wait, Doraemon has no ears. Okay. Don't tell the whole thing. Well, yep. I think I've heard this before. Thank you for the joke. Also, Frank, what is the next move for everyone to get more people to join this game? Well, so in Season 2, hopefully the guest login can be implemented. The Chinese version is also available. And right now we have... we're trying to line up those elusive KOLs. But let's see if we can... I feel like them promised us to get it done for Season 1, but they ghosted us. Do send us names of KOLs you guys think can work. And I think the new Daddy program with the new sugar bounties, we can get to work with some more local KOLs. that we can source and connect with the help of daddies. Scallywag, why did the company sneeze it had a virus? Question, will there be some kind of integration of usage of FE in the game? Not likely, but the stuff that FE can be purchased can be used in the game. Okay, but let's go POAP. Yeah, I think the POAP should be done very, very soon. But are you in my screenshot, caveman? Yes, you are in my screenshot. Okay. Jenkos. Will we be able to pay for star opening using Funny Emblem or Mini Black Hole? I don't think so. But you can sell a Funny Emblem or Mini Black Hole and pay rent. It can be a direct transfer, but I would agree if there's an option in the marketplace. I don't think that this would be available anytime soon, although it's an entertaining idea. But, Baron NFT. No, not yet. Maybe after the Apostle contracts are done. A gem. Proto merging. Will primeval planets have like multiplier compared to non-primevals? Oh, I don't think this one is confirmed yet. I don't think this one is confirmed yet. So I can't answer that right now. Okay, second center. Yeah, I know what you mean. It may be bonus effects for some profile picture NFTs, but I don't think it would have for direct primevals. Again, this one will have to wait until we're closer to the live of World Merging. Oh, tough questions. Who are Goku's other siblings? Stop. Oh, listen. Oh, joke? What's the cap of mini table? What's the cap of Mintable Apostles for season 2? Let me open up the PowerPoint. Preliminarily, not final, is that we are going for maximum apostle number will be planet numbers multiplied by 3 plus a free grind number of 1000. But this free grind number can be increased based on the number of players that clear the dungeon, based on the planet holder accounts we reach, based on the number of players. That's the same. Based on the marketplace volumes, based on number of tweets or retweets, I think, from certain tweets. Yes. And so maybe probably somewhere around number of planets times 3 plus 5k as a base, unless we reach something really spectacular. Not again, this is the current direction, heavily subject to change upon the mediums. Okay. I've been busy in the kitchen for a week. Around 100 of buns. Nice. Been leak about release date of new chapter of Apostle Adventures and needed more. It's actually already written, but we're lining up the mediums, probably at least one piece of story a month. Do pay attention to some of the side mentions in the stories. There's some lore that will be circled back in the future. Which classes did you prefer? Career, Wisdom, or Fate? I shouldn't answer that, but yeah, I think I've answered many times that I used to be a very hands-on guy, like beating people up in the face. So it used to be theory, but then I really enjoyed playing like mages and hunters for a while with wisdom. But the fate class is a very new play approach. It's a very RTS commander type class, and I am a super huge RTS fan. So yeah, you're asking like who's my favorite son and like my favorite children. I cannot answer that. What about level who the solar fragments? Will we use them in next season? Yes, you will use them to mint the apostles. So they are the mid tickets, so to speak. So do keep a hold of them. What a mistakenly merge of fortunes as a fodder. Then you'll probably lose it. That's like accidentally consuming a SSR in a mobile game. Maybe we'll have a warning or something, but if you skip that warning and press it, it's highly unlikely that we can do it, especially when it's an on-chain function. So yeah, don't do that, Webon. Don't do that. NY is even banned from Binance. NY is even banned from Binance Us. What? New York, is it New York? Is even banned from Binance US. Oh. And US is among several countries banned from ICOs. Anyone like me buys after if they buy. Oh, first game that cares about the player's future. Maybe the college thing? I've met too many college kids who ruined their lives playing MMOs. I don't want to be part of that. Well, but at least it pays off now. And back in the days, they get their lives destroyed. Their accounts ain't worth shit on secondary markets. But still, I don't think you should do that for even like even if there's a bull market and play to earn and you can really make a living off of gaming. I still think they should get a degree. It's yeah. Anyway, not going there. Good evening, LoreKeeper. How are you doing today? Hope you and your family are well. Thank you, SimTip. Just wanted to say, in the battle demo, can't wait for the next season. Thank you. First person who in the AMA still remembers to compliment the demo. Extra souls. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. It's a pretty good one, but still quite generous. Thank you for spending time with us, dudes. It's always good to hear your AMAs. Thank you, SimTip. Oh, a very pleasant answer, but you sure you don't have any questions? Chimera. Oh, how are you doing? First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to ask. My name is Philath, and I belong to a web gaming organization called Chimera. Interesting name. What does it mean? Well, I came across your project recently, and it really impressed me a lot. Thank you. The question is, will there be a full guild functionality and sociable options? Full guild functionality, yes. We have many gaming guild partners, and we offer them scholarships, rental solutions, and even NFT packages that help them onboard their communities if they want to invest in our ecosystem. For sociable options, what does sociable options mean? Can you tell me what sociable options means? Like in-game chat or friend list or those functions? We have those. I think it's very important for gamers to want to embark on this with a guild, find some new friends or gamers and make a project like this stronger, more prosperous. Well, certainly I would love that as well. And we have been trying to find a lot of gaming guild partners, but I think it may be also be a double-edged sword for many GameFi projects. If you look into the space, there are two types of GameFi projects. One's like us, where we partner with a lot of institutional investors, gaming guilds, resulting in the entire space that's in the community that's resulted from a lot of gamers who are looking here in the beginning to get grind tokens, to get rewards. or to look for more traditional GameFi approaches that is led up from Axie Infinity actually. So a lot of people look into those. And then, but although these type of these projects, we get a lot of like funding and everything. Our community are generally not as hyped up as the other PFP NFT focused projects and game projects out there, where they have a lot of hype, and they tend to focus more on the development of the marketing aspects and the FOMO aspect of the project, and they tend to get more funding from the community and user side. But they don't have much on the institutional side. But of course, they're great projects. That's just both. I'm sad to say that we're more leaning towards the first option. We're still working on how to create that community. That's well, it doesn't necessarily reflect those, because I still hate my stuff being flipped like JPEGs. I still think we're trying to hunt for core users who really want to come in because they do understand the game mechanics, especially for Apron. That's important. We are so complicated. We're always trying to simplify it, but COD games is just not known to be that. Still, we'll try to find ways. Part of the revamp is to encourage the daddies to help us try to find different ways to package Apron to be more digestible, from infographics or videos or text versions in different languages. So yeah, back to the question. We try to find a lot of gaming guilds, but yes, to put it in simpler terms, a lot of the core users in the PFP and the tradable space are tend to be more spread out, and how do I put it? They just don't like gaming guilds or these or scholarships. They find it to be, or the idea of tokenomics or tokens. We do spend a lot of time on the tokens, but if you look at the entire project, and if you've participated in past AMAs, you'll know all our resources are actually thrown into the game project. So that's why we have a more polished game compared to many other people. But still, we think the future of gaming, other than player ownership, is that game tokens and playing, if it can be translated into something of monetary value like tokens, there is actually a high level of dynamics we can play into it. But again, the earning aspect and the value aspect is where everyone is focused on right now because of the pricing, of course. I hope people will look past this and there'll be more established control in the future. But it's always a tough nut to crack on this one. Okay, I digest too far. Back to the question. And nice to meet you. Hope we can see Quimera and Guild Leaderboards in either Season 1 or Season 2. But reach out and DM me if you want. If you want to help, if you want me to help do a quick show on Quimera to show some gameplay or tricks, or to get you guys into the leaderboards, just hit me up. With the fee. Hi, Frank. What do we use to pay for rent? I think it would be USDC. Should be USDC on Polygon. Okay, Caveman, can you share any Apron's marketing plan? How do you plan to connect to Web2 gamers? So right now we actually have some esports teams on board. Haven't announced that yet. And then we do have some traditional game publishers, but I don't think they are the larger ones. The larger ones require more talks and investment, while the mid-sized ones, and a lot of them in Southeast Asia and in Latin America, we have contact with, and hopefully they can help come play. For example, a lot of our gaming guilds, such as YGG, SEA, and what's that called? Snack Club. They are hunting, and even Guildfire. There's a lot of these gaming guilds because there's just a lack of, or better phrases, there's no games out right now, at least with functioning tokenomics or play and earn, play to earn mechanics. They are all hunting for Web2 games, onboarding Web2 players with rewards on their platforms or educational stuff to educate new users. and so they do have a lot of Web2 gamers on their end. But the Web2 gamers they have are mostly scholars, people who want to hunt for tokens or hunt for rewards. This is actually also one of the main points that deter a lot of the core users on the PFP or in the core holder crowds, that they think that the game is populated by too many grinders or people that are trying to flip things. So it takes away from certain projects like us actually. Until the game itself, of course, or that there's a clear explanation of like different tiers of primevals, holders, rarity, which we should. Okay. Again, don't digress. But for the way to connect to Web2 gamers, I think most obviously is the onboarding process for us. Guest account login would be a big breakthrough. The the uh, the marketing efforts, finding esports players, traditional game KOLs, but again, traditional gamer KOLs that are big, they know their audience, and gamers freaking hate NFTs, so they won't take the job. And the ones who take half Web 3 or Web 2, and then they don't typically fare well. So again, we should focus on just making sure that the Season 2 game, the replayability, the polished level is high, even higher than what you see in Season 1. And on the onboarding process is easier. And maybe look for SEOs or functions that, if the case be, we will still actually try to market the game using traditional like Facebook, Google Ads stuff, and maybe remove the NFT side of things to try to attract more of them, and so they can download and play and everything without knowing that it's an NFT game or thing. It's also one approach, but it will be an A/B testing thing. I still think like yeah. The cold hard truth is, if you slap NFT or crypto onto something and try to acquire users, it's actually more expensive than without right now. It used to be cheaper, like before April last year. You actually it's cheaper to get users if you slap NFT or crypto into something. But now it's become a lot more expensive. So we'll see what the market's favor like. But I guess as long as the game and the core mechanics are fun, and the onboarding process allows for guest logins that don't require too much hectic Web3 connections, so we'll do what we can. On the KOL side and the marketing side, trying to find people who can help us help get cross it over. I mean, what I really want is, I think we can get a lot of users from Southeast Asia and Latin America, provided with rewards and everything. But the core, like some of the core users that really want to invest, we'll have to find a different approach to market the primevals. That's why in the new Daddy program I want to implement the possibility to really encourage our users to list the primevals, and also increase the level of contribution and participation of primeval holders in the space. I mean, in our ecosystem, to contribute more and to reward them better for turning primevals into a more fun and educational, I guess, society, or primeval special club access. Again, let me finish the revamp. That's always growing bigger and bigger. Okay. But of course, I hope Podemos and a lot of our guild partners can begin to help. Although I know a lot is happening with all the gaming guilds, and pretty much everyone in the space is trying to survive and find ways to keep things lean. So yeah, I won't put too much pressure until like we have like a really strong product going on there, and then we can utilize and start trying to get them to help with every small mini milestone. Especially what the best we can all do. And ultimately for us and for the partners, the benefit is for us to launch the game. What do you call the golem who spends all their tokens on planets? Planet Holic. Generated by AI. Okay, well, it's results from pavement. Oh, being creative. Okay, do you have a marketing campaign plan to bring new players and invest in the project? Wow, this guy just Maybe missed Miss Caveman's message. Will we answer that? Okay, on to the last two questions. Hi, sir. Can we put a planet to a start to speed up morph time or the cooldown time for breeding? That is an actually very interesting idea. Probably it may not be available now, but for the creativity of this question, I'll give you extra souls. But no, you can't do that. It only speeds up the general age of the planet, which actually is very significant already, because age is sort of like the levels of the planet. That allows more equipment, and that alone is extremely powerful alone. So may not add stuff to this. The ability to speed up move time or cooldown time will be may be affected by PFP, but still it wouldn't be available anytime soon right now. We still want to monitor the supply carefully with the number of users in the ecosystem. Okay, Caveman. Yeah, I was curious if you all thought of removing NFT from the domain name. We could. We actually have a lot of domain names under our scope. But am I that eager to abandon ship like this? I don't know. I'm not that type of a person. I mean, we do believe in that NFTs and crypto tokens can create a very interesting dynamic in the future of gaming business models. Should we abandon ship to enhance the short-term onboarding process, only to throw it back at them later? I don't know. It sounds a little weird. Even for SEO purposes. But it is possible, I guess. We can entertain that idea, but I'll have to talk to Lawmaster and Noscripler. I still think it's too soon to do that. Because to be honest, there are still ways to turn this entire project into a Web2 game. But for all the effort that we've spent devising and looking at the project, this is actually something that we do believe is for the betterment of Apron as a whole. And we did redesign the entire game to be NFT and crypto friendly. So referring this, or trying to revert all this back to a Web2 game, it wouldn't be a revert. We have to redesign again, because all the stuff that we did, the breeding and everything, should still be in the Web2 game. I don't think it may be worth it like that so far. I still have more faith in the basic gameplay functionality of the games to really stand out amongst the Web3 crowd. And I still have faith in the Web3 population. There's still many dormant cells that are there that were crushed, burned and crushed in the previous rare cycles. But I think a lot of them still genuinely believe that it could be the future of gaming. They just needed a game to show them. Hopefully we can be that one and show that there actually is utility and purpose, and not try to whip and burn NFTs and try to join the bandwagon this early. We're testing new initiatives and we're pushing for mass adoption as well. That's for levels, right? I haven't talked to Sasha for a long time. And before that, in fact, I haven't even talked to John for a long time. I should really hit up John and see how he's doing. I just wonder in the future, we will not refer to them as NFTs, just as game assets. That will be a really long future. I mean, I don't think anytime soon. They probably have a legal case to ensure that NFTs are stuck to that, and not if you're judging from the more centralized organizations from the planet and the legal entities and the legal contracts. I'm pretty sure that if any game tried to do that in the future, there will be a very swift law and regulation requiring all NFTs to have the term NFT directly stuck to that, like a warning logo or something. Yes, hopefully it can become that seamless. Okay. think that's almost all the questions I've seen so far. We'll take a look at general chat if there's anything. Where's the calculators up there? What's happening? What's it called? The calculators. To calculate the planet age? Hmm. See me panda is typing. Any other questions? Then I really should get back to the forever grind on the revamp on my side. 1 + 1 = 10. Well, way to go for your college life, B-Pounds. Panda, right now, can you estimate the amount of time spent playing this game each day? You mean for the demo or in the future? For the future, I really can't calculate it because I actually answered that earlier. Depends on how heavy you want to ride it. I mean, if you look at mobile games, most mobile games are geared around like 1 to 3 hours a day. Even go up to 4, 5 hours a day if you want to go full grind mode. That's probably where we'll be at. On the prediction on what the next one will be. Do you think the bottom was in? Oh my god, it's probably one of the tougher questions of the night. I don't think there'll be another bull run. The next bull run, the only thing that we can count on is history, and if you look at the history of the internet cycle, it begins at the bottom and it goes back upwards. So I think it's easier to answer the second part, and I think we are not there yet. I think we are on the struggling end of the bottom, but I don't know. So we were in the bull trap and the bear trap, like from December to February. And right now, I still think we're in that bull trap, bear trap thing because of the size of the market and the way the market is acting. So there are definitely larger institutional players playing around with these traps. As for the health of the entire space, statistically, it is on decline. The amount of money that's still coming and going is still around the same, so it's really hard to really judge what the frack is happening. I mean, I've asked this question countless times to all my partners, and they have all question marks around their head. But well, from a more fundamental point of analyzing, traditionally, the markets still don't look good. Q2 is still pretty bleak, but everyone was bleak in Q4 last year already, but the markets didn't react that way. So, really don't see, not sure. I think the best thing is still just to build the game, launch it, depending on the atmosphere of the market, and do it from there. Stronger products get to weather more turbulent seas. Wondering when AGT Season 2. AGT Season 2. Maybe after the revamp and the Air-Prone Guild Wars will have an AGT. Celebrate one in between. I don't know. Let's see how the new. I think we'll do an AGT when the community grows bigger. I'm certainly season 2 will grow bigger. Let me confirm if we can do the guest login. I really want to guest login, and Lawmaster expressed interest, but his looks tells me that may not be implementable too soon. But let me see if it's possible to get it in. If we get that in, we get the Web2 users, then we have to restructure the server so that we can have a little more functionality for those who come from Web2. Not necessarily have to show them in the Web3, but we have to have like a full-on engagement and pipeline for Web2 users who come in here, still have something to do, while still showing that NFT owners and Primeval owners can have their can be more enticing or more advantageous, but not in a very shilly way, I guess. Kumara, thank you very much for very much agree with your reflection on the current state of the game price scene. Remember, we're committed to gaming on Web3 for the knowledge and education of our members. We're committed building games at events, and though the content will develop on Web3 gaming blockchain chain. Oh wow, okay. Well, let me take a look at your. Let me take a look at Google and see if I can find a guild. What does Quimero mean? Oh, I see. Oh, it's Chimera. Oh, I see. The different spelling of the Chimera. Hmm. Oh, see, it's on the Google search. If you can send me the link to your community or to the Twitter or website, it would be great. Oh, cool. You can DM me. Super Mario. What is the biggest collab brought by the Fire Masters so far that had a big impact on the community? Well, let me take a look. I know which ones have a big effect by Uland, but as for the Fire Masters, let me go hold up the targeted partner sheet where they have been filling up the forms. I know Shrapnel was brought in by Squapple. Shrapnel is still in good vibes with us, so that's one thing. Other than Shrapnel, Squapple also brought in also linked me up with Brody, one of the TikTok AOLs, to explore some stuff. But I guess they were freaking pricey, even Brody himself claims. Well, this will always be able to meet them back. Squabble is also bringing in Hangout DAO, recently registered. So, I don't think there's like a. So, Sana. Good Morning Cafe. Let's see any from Good Morning Cafe. Don't see much reporting from Sana. Yes. We'll see those three. Sparkle, yes. Those three. Elon brought in some alphas, but those alphas are playing privately, and we spend more time over there educating them, hopefully to onboard more. But still, most of these alpha groups they ask for money, and they ask for like consultation fees and everything. They ask for integration, so to speak. And they keep it quite private until you pay them, until you enter into deeper contracts. Which, after looking at some of the projects they're doing, we're still deciding if it's worth it to pay them. Because there really isn't much communities out there right now that we can see like a huge impact can be done. I mean, even those communities themselves are struggling to retain their own users. Every community out there is struggling to retain their own users except for the minting ones. where they attract the crowds of the minters to go there. Most projects that's already minted haven't really seen much dance with a lot of stuff. Well, but if you do have some communities you think are very healthy and can make a positive impact, then please feel free to connect us with them. Okay. So an interesting topic. If you guys don't have AMA questions, I have some AMA questions I want to ask the community. So recently we have these game projects that partner with us, and they're all very friendly. A lot of them contribute a lot of NFTs to us, but some of them always ask about the rivalry question. I mean, ultimately, a lot of games do see each other in the space as rivals. And even if we exchange some NFTs, they claim the metaverse interoperability, the larger projects always have trouble convincing their management that working with other games, such as us in these tournaments, will ultimately involve cannibalizing their community. And doesn't seem to be a very uh, good way, especially when the GameFi space is so small already. What's a good way and a good thing that we can do to promote coexistence instead of rivalry that is more um, that is actually more visible and can be more tangible for their feel. I think this is something that we have always tried to do. It's not just for other games, but even for other Web3 communities. This is the base problem. Every Web3 community has their own projects, tokens, NFTs. And because the space is small right now, everyone is vying for the resources of these users to invest in their ecosystems. But I think not very protective of it, so, being afraid that other projects will poach their users away from them. So how, with this mentality, can the true meaning of interoperability and metaverse be sustained? Hmm. It's just maybe too early to answer this question directly. I do hope AI can actually provide such solutions by easing up on the artwork side. With the artwork side, that's one of the main barriers in my mind. And then it's the implementation of other projects into the track. And maybe one of the most hard to combine things that development pipeline. This is also one of the things that we run into because originally the Apparent War was supposed to be done across 3 different games. Um, we tried to run on a more militaristic pipeline in the first half and find games that also are looking into this first half year pipeline, but at the end of the day, it was too much of a pressure to commit for 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 other games developers to work on like the pipeline. I mean, there are always delays, and there can always be problems that are unforeseen around the space. So it's hard to say to line up all these projects, especially when everyone is still in development on these states. Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to do something more ad hoc when the game launches and see what's right out there. I think it's an inevitability that we really have to accept that having a better game and better rewards, which will move our community to April if the other community has a game of its own. If it's the community, not for a game, then I think it's hardly stealing. So both better and costing will come out first before we can gauge things. You can't always wait for the game to be out to decide these things, Esther. If we always rely on the game to be out and decide those things, it would be too late. And you really talk as if game development is something that's so easy. It's not. Um, there are many conditions sticking with the game is out first. Robertino's birthday. Is Robert here? I don't sing, actually. I don't sing unless I'm super drunk. Um, so you can sing them if you want. I can invite you to stage. Is Robert here? I don't think it's time on the Robert's end. Robert is usually up later or earlier in the morning. Since dance is even off the table. I only dance with my wife. Oh no, my son puked. He was having these night coughs, and I think he just puked. No. Well, let me take a quick look at him while you guys tap your questions. Yeah, hello. Hello. What's your name? Hello. Hello. Yeah. Okay, can't hear you. Was really you on the stage, George? Let me see. Yeah, saying hello. See, they type hello. Okay. You puke? Yeah, hello. They're saying hello. Okay. The community decline itself is, but many projects have high engagement retention. What do you think that happened with everyone that you have planned to address the decline? Mm, oh, on our side, we just have to keep making the game, trying to get the information simpler. Reward side, we'll still throw it when the game is properly. The season 2 is a good time to increase marketing activities. It's a general decline because lately there's very low activity in Discord about the time release. Well, the previous activity was because of the daily programs, but the daily program is under revamp. And then we also turned low a lot of the airdrops and the alt grinding events. It's always um, uh, a conflict between the two. So if you want high retention and engagement, we can throw in a lot of these like retweets, airdrop events, and then we'll throw in events that require people to go for chat levels and everything. But these events also attract a lot of alts and bots, and ultimately they create a sense of engagement and numbers, which actually may be good for some people when they come in, or investors that don't really look into the community and they see high engagement, high numbers of followers. But at the same time, people who actually are in the community do know that these are just chatters or reward grinders, and it takes away from them that the quality of the project may be a question because these numbers are uploaded. That's what's happening. And then, but of course, there is the way to complement this with like market making and everything, which a lot of PFP projects does. But ultimately, I don't foresee us as a PFP project ever. And and the path we are going for, as I've mentioned in the first AMAs, is that we want to go for a more price appreciation approach where we start more slower, build the product and build the core product base, and slowly go up after there. I mean, we're close to that end, but will we be the one that try to mass on board users in the space right now? I mean, even if we mass on board users in the space right now, the quality of users that we attract ultimately traders. The gamers will need a more complete game. And I think Season 2 is a more complete game. Of course, the Battle Launch is an even more complete game. Yeah. I don't see a huge surge even in Season 2. or maybe upon game launch, unless we rip off NFT from the title and go for a full normal launch. But I don't think that's the ideal path for the entire community or the ecosystem. So we won't go there. Because the project treasury and how we build the project is still the key to sustainability. Is to monitor things and carefully and plan it out and make sure that the product is always on the top end, because the core product where the resources is going to right now is of quality. We still have very strong vote to weather the seasons. As for the community and the fluctuations, I think it's a short period thing that we have to weather. And because we are more on a fund and equity, not equity, but a fund and a partner investor side, we have more leeway than other communities that have to direct more of their resources into more community-based showmanship type of project. But honestly, I guess that is also one of our core flaws or cons in our community, that our community is a very heavily Asian-focused developer company, and we don't have those more extrovert or sociable developers you see in other space, where they are very outspoken and like to present their stuff in a more social manner, where the entire team from artists and programmers are all sociable. And if you look at our daddies, I mean, a lot of them are very willing to contribute, but Asians are Asians. We are more reserved. We tend to do our contribution in less outspoken ways, and so it's hard to find the more Western crowds where they are more active and outward reaching, and so it's a. But I think we'll get there as we meet more people. But it's a process, I guess. There are many things which we need to improve on. But yeah, again, if you're hunting for like 50x, 80x, or like even just 3x or 2x or 10x, I've always said Ebron is not a project that's going to do that. Even if they do, I'm going to market make the ceiling. So sorry to say that you'll have to be in here in the long haul if you want to stay in the ecosystem. Of course, if there's a mass row of people coming in, I won't really fight that, of course, but we probably need to still make sure that the core is on the safe and up side and not let it spike too turbulent. But we'll still be trying to onboarding users in our own way. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think in general, projects are more interested in collaborating with a more popular project. So initially, a project would have to stand on your own and prove that it can achieve something. Then other projects will come to you. Alternatively, others are not desperate enough to collaborate yet. Maybe you just have to wait for the market conditions to get worse. Very utilitarian answer from Heart of the Card. But yes, very truthful. I still, I'm asking more for any good references as to good collabs or stuff done in the space. I mean, something like the tournaments, the Tianheim thing is a good thing. That's why we did it. Asking for something more manageable is what I was actually going for in the beginning. Like, did you see any projects with good integrations, good events going? We can do. Yeah, that's also something we hope to hunt for in SETI Season 2 and rank this Season 2. Really, two direct events or methods seen in this space that is very effective. Keep trying. Would there be any advantage or to a free or low cost bit versus an airdrop? I think with Season 2's mint, it's not exactly a free mint. Let's say it's closer to what a skill mint is, because the thing that you mint is actually combined via gameplay. So if you really suck at the game or you don't play at all, and you randomly select an apostle, the value of that apostle is just crap. And it wouldn't be quite enticing. And so you would have to play the game. But of course, the most skillful people will have an easier time or a faster time in creating them. But even other people or any other people spend enough time, they can meet some of the apostles and merge the skills to a high level. Because ultimately, there are two paths with which you play with skill mint. One is the basic way is to try to max out one of the skills so that in the future you can merge it with another one. The other one is to hunt for internal value, the battle power thing. That one requires more grinding, and of course, if you want to combine that with the best skills, then it would take a long time. But it is still possible to even hunt for one with a higher value than Origins. You probably need to hold at least a Divine or above to easier run into that. Do you think it would reduce the number of bots? I think if we open up guest accounts and everything, the number of players in here, I'm not afraid of bots because they still have to play the game, and we can still do a leaderboard thing, where we open up the leaderboard to include all free mint counts, and so those who actually are in the leaderboard, like if we say we have like 10,000 mint, then we'll do a 10,000 strong leaderboard, and the bots that just log in or select a random apostle won't be in unless we don't have that many users. But not all the quality of the apostle needs to be done. I think the only thing that should be clarified on is how many mints do planet owners can be entitled to. That would be a more ultimate answer. That needs to be clarified. Because we do think planet owners, in a sense, should be able to mint more. But in terms of leaderboard rewards, can they represent multiple entries? This is always the tougher question out there. In order to stay in the ecosystem, we also need liquidity. Otherwise, people feel trapped in the project and might become a negative vibe in the community. And that's why we offer refunds for those who feel trapped. And that would be a real problem for the long-term vision you have for the project. Do you plan to work as a type of liquidity on like Blur with the big projects? I think further down the road, we will have market making for tokens and also the NFT side. I think ultimately we will need to work on that. But in this phase of the project, no, not necessarily. Does this have any special benefits? Aurora, Plasma. Oh, no, those are cosmetics. Card. One idea to get more promise to the hunt for new projects. They usually make them with the news and attract new players, people. Extremely investment those projects themselves would also be interested in spreading the word, so they would be inclined to participate in AMAs. Yes, that's actually what we've been doing out of the card, or at least from the Yulon side. He likes to do the collabs and wireless drops from these projects and try to ride on it. Such as the one that we recently tweeted about that he's pushed strongly because it's something with the more popular projects in this space. There are two downsides to this. One is that any project still has that possibility to run or to get hacked. So that's a concern. The other side is they just want to do the collabs and they do attract people that come in and go. But those who usually do those are usually whitelist hunters. How do we convert them? Is by doing AMAs with them and introducing them to our ecosystem. We did do that in the past. It feels we did less of them these days, though. But I guess that's because Elon and I have been spending more time trying to get to the core game communities that are playing now. I think we can spend more efforts into these new companies and new projects and try to get them to join per se. That would be an interesting choice. But one of the things that we saw was like Altiverse. When it first came out, it was very popular. And so we tried to get Altiverse into our guild, which they are in. And then we see like around 20 to 30 accounts from Altiverse in the beginning. And now there's only a few. Because those who qualified in the entries ended up all back in their alpha groups. Back in Magma, back in Gojira, back in Skyforce. Quite interesting. But still, yes, that is a good reminder of what we should be also focusing coming up. Card. We've recently worked on a way to actually encourage the communities, the new communities that we do roadshows in, to have more people play the game. One of the ways is actually use some of my fully bred planets. I have so many fully bred planets, and they're just sitting there aging or do nothing. Sometimes I can throw in one for those communities, new members who are trying to complete the demo. Well, at least for the larger groups, I guess. Maybe something a little more enticing. Okay. Let me see if there's any more. If there's no other questions, I'll get back to the refab. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that's it for tonight. All the permission pack off for the AMA side. Open up the AMA questions earlier next time before the AMA itself. And then I'll try to type in the answers more often. I think that's a better way to interact with these questions. And also talk about it in the AMA. This way, even for those side the English language can see or help translate early. All right. Well, I think that's it. Is that it? Well, have a good night, guys. And I'll update you guys on the sneak peek and everything. After tomorrow, I'll just throw a bunch of videos on the leaks, and you guys can see the some of the new warrior and guardian apostle skills, new classes skills. I think I'll probably put them onto the Twitter instead of the leaks first. We'll see what comes. Okay. And for the new builds sessions, yeah, well, I'll update them in the development pipeline. In the what is Aperon thing. The what is Aperon needs some major upgrade in the comms section. Yeah, I think one of the main bottlenecks of Aperon has always been the communications. Speaking of which, before I go, trying to get it to be easily understood. The planets, the stars, the free tokens is one of the biggest obstacles We'll try to do better there. Especially with the revamp in season 2. Probably need to really, really simplify the website, but the website is almost a territory. Have to be a bit more careful. All right. Which part of the revamps? New sugar system, probably. New bounty system. That's where I spend most of my time on. Okay. Good night, guys. You can go where you're spending time there.